Hi guys, it's just me again. I'm on my way down from Scafell Pike in the Lake Districts. It was nice and sunny up there. I wished it to be so, and it was. There's nothing strange about that, it just happens. But yeah, I started with the video this morning talking about stuff and about standing in integrity, standing in your own right to be here. This is our dominion. And I'll say this, guys, it doesn't matter so much what you read. People talk about the 2040 Phoenix event that will be coming up in 2040. Some people are talking about the 2030 agenda. All these become part of your reality because you make it your reality. It's like fines. It's like government, in fact. Does government exist? Is government legitimate? Folks, we all do reading, and I've done a hell of a lot of reading over the last 3 years. I'm in law, in banking, in the medical profession. I wouldn't say I'm an expert in any of those fields, but I kind of know what I'm doing now and know what I'm talking about. So with that, there are truths, definitely are the truths, but you gotta fill your head with knowledge. You gotta look at the data. You gotta understand the data, what you're reading, and how they're getting to these things. And it's the same with banking. How are they getting so much money to loan so much people? They don't. It's simple as that. Okay? Do yourself a favor and read up banking law. They're breaking it left, right and center. Same as legislation. Every company is breaking legislation. And let me take you to the point of legislation in itself. Legislation. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with a guy called Baron David Ward, who sent in an affidavit to the British government. Now, those of you who don't understand what an affidavit is, please look it up. But it is the most powerful legal document that you can serve anybody with, because it boils down to the fact of the matter. And facts can't be rebutted if they are fact. True. So, with that in mind, he served all our politicians, all 659 of them, back in 2013 with this affidavit. And it was never rebutted, which means it stands as truth. And one of the questions is, did all 68 million UK citizens give their consent to being governed? That was not rebutted, people. If it wasn't rebutted, it stands as truth. And we've got to understand this. You've got to understand what that means. It means that our government officially, really, legitimately does not exist. And that goes for every other government worldwide. Every government worldwide, doesn't matter where you are. Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, they're all set up by the British monarchy or the British Inn. So I'm going to pause it here for a bit because we've got some folks coming up. Right, pass that lot and I can carry on downwards. So guys, this is what I'm saying. You're all living your lives, and some of you are living your lives and serving unscrupulous organizations, corporations, call them whatever you want. They're unscrupulous. There's lots of us dealing with fines, so-called fines, alleged fines, but they don't exist because these companies aren't even obeying legislation anyway. The very legislation that government have put in place, these companies are not obeying, and they are not being brought to court for it. In fact, court is ignoring us when we are pointing out these statutes that they are breaking. All of them are working in fraud. If you don't know what fraud is, people, look up the word fraud. If people are caught doing things fraudulently, they will get 7.5 years imprisonment. These are crimes, guys. It's time that we started looking at what is being served to yourselves, to us, and start doing something about it. I can't spend too long on this tape. I've got to get driving, but that's something to bear in mind, guys. So it's going back. Anyway, I mentioned the Phoenix event. I've mentioned the 2030 event, all that sort of stuff. So the heart of the matter, guys, is what's inside of you. This is your domain. This was given to you by your Creator. And what you create is what you live by. So if you create in fear, or you think fearfully, it will come to you. There's no doubt about it. But if you project and also just ignore that sort of stuff that brings in sort of the fear commands, and let me tell you, they'll be trying you. I've been tried, and I still am. You know, sometimes I just want to kind of like bash somebody, but anyway, that's not the answer either. But the thing is that when things start going good, when you think you got the battle right, then something else happens. And let me tell you, I've got always battles. I don't pay any fines, so it's constantly. I don't pay any parking. I don't pay anything else. So this is a constant battle for me. I get tickets all the time. But until you people start waking up and realizing that we are not supposed to be paying for parking tickets and all that sort of stuff. No, why? Okay, until you guys start waking up and joining in the fight, and there's a lot of us fighting this, it's not just me, then it will continue to be so. So yeah, getting back to my point, so you're winning some battles. Well, you're winning every battle, sometimes slower than others. Sometimes there's a regeneration, so to speak, of an old fight. So they constantly come back and kind of like haunt you. But you got to remember that none of them are sticking to the gun. None of them are sticking to legislation, which is what you are doing. Even though you don't have to stick to legislation, but you do. And you got to also understand what legislation says. It's talking about a person or you. You got to understand these words, guys. They're not in reference to you. Okay. Anyway, I'm signing out now. I'm just wanting you to give it some thought. Think of what you're doing and become a man, a living man and a living woman. This is our realm. Get it right, guys. Bye now.